Welcome back, guys. We're back here in the shop today working on Jay's 350Z. Earlier this morning the glass shop came by and installed the new windshield, so after that dries later tonight I'll come back and reinstall the A-pillar garnishes. But for now I'm going to be removing the rear subframe. The ISR solid subframe and diff bushings came in this afternoon, as well as these Voodoo 13 traction arms. So I'm going to go ahead, pull the subframe out and start working on getting those installed, or getting the old bushings out and putting the new ones in. First, before I get started, these solid bushings, being aluminum, generally sometimes people have trouble putting these in, but just a trick that I've used along the years, anything like this, I also use this same method for like wheel studs and stuff. I'm going to take these and put them in the freezer. The idea here is, you know, heat expands, cold contracts. So by putting them in the freezer, this is going to let them shrink down to a smaller size. They're a lot easier to install that way. Start pulling the exhaust off so we can get the subframe out. All right, now I got the exhaust off, got the bushings in the freezer. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the wheels and we'll start removing the subframe. It looks like a pretty nasty storm is moving in, so I'm actually gonna shut the shop down. Kind of sucks because it's nice having a little draft through here today. Alright, now we got the subframe removed. I'm going to take it outside, start burning the original bushings out, and then after that we'll have to cut the races out, get it cleaned up, and get it ready for the new bushings. Whoops. Okay, as you can see, the reason we're replacing the traction arms, this one actually blew the bushing out because the subframe and diff bushings were blown so bad, it was letting everything kind of just bounce around under there. It's a really bad wheel hop. It actually just destroyed the bushing in this one, so we're changing it to a spherical end-link bush arm. That's why we're going with the Voodoo ones. We're going to get rid of these bushed end links.
Today we play with fire.
A little bit. So this is going to be very similar to what you would do on a 240SX. I know a lot of guys like to use a hole saw and actually drill through them. I don't actually have the right size hole saw for this. This is perfectly fine. When they were initially building the subframe at the factory, the welding and everything, putting it together, was much hotter than what you're going to get with the gas bottle here, burning the bushings out. So we're not at any risk of damaging it or sacrificing any structural integrity. So just takes a little bit of time. You know, once you get these hot enough, I like to use like a little pry bar, see when they start getting it loose. Once you get it hot enough, they'll come on out of there. You do have to burn a good bit of the rubber out before they come out though. So this is the long method, but in this case, this is a lot easier than running around a bunch of hardware stores looking for a hole saw the right diameter. Plus, who doesn't love playing with fire? Before you get the sleeve out, the fire can't really get to the inside of the bushing to actually start really burning it out. Once it gets hot enough, you'll be able to slide the sleeve out like I just did, And then as you see now, the flame's coming through the center of it, and it'll burn it out pretty quickly. By the way, guys, Carl has entered the vlog. Thank you, Carl.
I got done editing a vlog, so I decided to come outside for the little bit of sun that's left of the day.
I'm proud of you for getting outside today.
They're gonna see me on camera and they'll be like, why is Carl so overexposed? What's wrong with the camera? He's so overexposed. No, he's just pale.
That's all right. We're gonna put you on grass cutting duty now.
Uh-oh.
It's only 5 acres.
Only 5.
Before I burn the front ones out, I'm just gonna remove a few pieces up here so nothing catches on fire. If I can. Alright guys, so for the front ones, I just rolled it back and used, you can just use a, you know, I'm sure everyone has a spare SR20 turbo outlet pipe laying around, so just use that to prop the front of the diff up. That's just gonna keep the fire from burning out any of the other bushings. Alright, just to get into the spirit, guys, we're gonna go ahead and set up the pop-up tent, just like we're at the track. It'll almost be like we're working on it in the pits. Just to clarify, Carl requested the tent for the camera because it is starting to sprinkle. Watch, now that we set the tent up, it probably won't rain at all. All right.
Oh no, it's a bomb, run! Another shrimp on the barbie.
That's what it sounds like. Ow. Don't stick your hands in the burning rubber, kids. Don't be a Jeff. I mean an idiot. I mean a Jeff. Yeah, that's from the Sahara dust storm or whatever that is that's going on. You know what I'm talking about. That stuff on the news. All right, Carl, I'm gonna let you finish this. I'm going on inside. I gotta go edit some weddings.
That's supposed to be my line.
About to die over here trying to burn bushings out. This one is liquid filled from the factory. It just sprayed me too, man. We got all our bushings burnt out. I still have to cut the shells and hammer them out. But before I take everything back inside, since I got it right here in my little wash area, I'm gonna go ahead and wash it all. The diff, before I wash it, I'm gonna knock these bushings out of the front of it real quick. They're much easier than the rest of them. You can just take a hammer, give them a couple taps, and they'll fall right out. Just like that, really easy. Damn. Alright, it wasn't as easy as I thought it was. Not as easy as the last one, that's for sure.
The next morning.
Okay, now we clean. All right, now that I have it cleaned, I'm gonna start the painful process of trying to remove the outer shell. Alright, so now I'm going to take a piece of emery cloth and just polish the holes out before I try to put the new bushings in. Also going to do the same for the ones on the diff. This is just to help the new bushings go in a little bit easier. Now that I have all the old bushings and shells removed, have all the holes cleaned up, I'm going to go inside, get the new bushings out of the freezer, and come back out here and we'll start putting them in. Alright, as you can see, I brought a cooler out here with some ice to keep the bushings nice and cold. That way I don't have to run back and forth to the fridge. My fridge is really far away from the shop, so if you guys have a fridge in your shop, you might as well just leave them in the freezer. You don't want to hit directly on the bushing, so I'm going to use this 2x4 just to keep from damaging it with the hammer. Make sure that they're going in straight so they don't bind or anything. Alright, if you're just really careful with it, you won't actually damage the bushing. I'm just going to lightly work this one down in here. Don't want to hit it too hard. You want to make sure you hit it flat on too. With the hammer, if you hit it at an angle, it's going to scar it. I'm going to try something different on the next one, see if this makes a difference. Just applying a little grease. Just regular wheel bearing grease to the inner diameter of the hole on the subframe itself. As you can see with the grease, that one went in a little bit easier than the other one. Oh, nice. These are much easier. Excellent. So the freezer method worked pretty well for these here. The back ones must be a little tighter fit, so they were a little bit more trouble to get drove in. But that does explain why all the other YouTube videos just skipped that completely and just showed you the easy ones. So, but as you saw, I did this one dry. It was a little bit harder to work in there. Just make sure when you're hammering it that you're going to kind of work your way around. Don't hit it on the same side, or you'll end up actually getting the bushing like sideways in there and it'll get jammed. You want it to go straight down in the bore. So on those, like I said, just put the grease on them and just carefully, don't try to hit too hard, just hit lightly and work your way, work them down in there slowly. Nice, now that these are starting to transfer some of that coldness into the subframe, they've actually swelled up enough already that they're a press fit into the subframe. Excellent. Next I'm going to move on to the diff bushing. Going to do the same method here as well. Go ahead and lubricate the inner diameter of the bore here. Now you want to make sure that you're putting the bushing in where the hole that the nut's going to go in is facing towards the back of the car. Don't accidentally put it in the wrong way, or you'll definitely have a problem whenever you're putting it back together. All right, now all of these bushings are going to be the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you put on top or bottom. Once again, I'm going to do the same thing over here. Put a little grease on the inner diameter of the hole before we get started, just to make things easy. Wood under it to support it so it's got something solid to hammer against. All right, now before I turn the diff over, it has a vent on the top of it. I'm gonna take a 4mm vacuum cap, just plug that off, that way we're not pouring fluid everywhere. Then you're safe to turn the diff over. Okay guys, so the power is out. It's a storm moving through right now, but I'm gonna keep working. Now I'm gonna go ahead and reattach the diff back to the subframe, reattach the sway bar, swap out the tension arms, and then put it on the car. All right, now it's time to get it on the dollies and bring it back over to the car, start putting it back in. All right guys, I got my friend Colby here. He's gonna give me a hand stabbing this thing back in here. First, I'm gonna put this little tank girdle back on the front. All right guys, we got the bushings in, we got the subframe back in the car. This thing's ready for another track day. That's it for this video. We'll see you next time.